In this first part of our two-part video series, we are going to introduce you to the 3 criteria according to which we recommend to all of our clients picking first baby foods for weaning to help them minimize digestive issues in their baby.
And then in part 2, we're going to present you the actual list of suitable foods for babies from 4 months plus, which fulfill those exact criteria.
Coming up. Welcome to Care About Little Ones. I am Matthias.
And I am Natalie.
And on this channel we share all of our experience to help parents help their children naturally.
So subscribe to our channel if you like.
When babies suffer from digestive issues, the first thing we ask their parents is what kind of solids they feed their baby. Because in about 85% of all cases, once those babies are being fed according to our approach, their digestive issues quickly disappear. So let's have a look at the 3 criteria according to which we recommend picking your baby's first foods if you want to minimize digestive problems in your baby when you start weaning. The first criterion is sugar content. As long as your baby is younger than 12 months of age, her digestive system is just not able to cope with huge amounts of sugar. In fact, it's that very reason why the American Academy of Pediatrics does not recommend offering a baby fruit juice before the age of 1 year. Fruit juice simply contains too much sugar for such a young child. And too much sugar can cause a phenomenon called carbohydrate malabsorption. In plain English, this means that the high amount of sugar can cause gas, bloating, abdominal pain, and even chronic diarrhea, according to scientists. Now, when it comes to weaning and picking the right first baby foods for your baby, the problem is that many parents choose foods which can trigger the exact same digestive problems as fruit juice. And it's not that those parents willingly do something bad, obviously, they just don't know it any better. The best example is fruit puree from industrially produced baby food pouches. We have met hundreds of parents who believe that these pouches are the perfect first baby food for weaning, and we cannot even blame them. Because as a parent, when you look at the packaging of some of those, you go like, alright, 100% organic fruits, no added sugar, no gluten, obviously lots of vitamins, right? Because it's only just fruits. Plus on the packaging it says from 4 months plus, so it's great for weaning, right? I mean, who would not be lured into believing that you're actually doing something good by feeding your baby such products, right? Well, that's until you see the amount of sugar. In fact, in this extreme example right there, we feed our baby 19.6 grams of sugar with one single pouch. Are they mad? That's about the same amount of sugar contained in 5 sugar cubes. I mean, would you offer your baby 5 sugar cubes to eat at the age of 4 to 6 months and actually even later on? So please be aware that just because the packaging says no sugar added does not mean that it cannot contain crazy amounts of sugar. And just because it says from 4 months does not make it an appropriate product for weaning. Now, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends offering whole fruits. And from a nutritional point of view, this makes total sense. The problem is though that some of the foods which range on top of most conventional baby weaning guides are not less sugary than what we've just seen. Banana is the perfect example. I know babies love banana, and because of their soft consistency, one would instinctively tell that it's the perfect food for weaning, right? But not quite. If we Google the sugar content of banana, Google will tell you that 100 grams of banana contains a staggering 12 grams of sugar, which is the equivalent of 3 sugar cubes. But it's getting worse because despite what Google tells you, the actual sugar content of the banana that you feed your baby could be even higher. For example, if we check the nutritional values of bananas which are being sold at Tesco in the UK, we can see that the actual sugar content of 100 grams of banana is as high as 18.1 grams. Keep in mind though that 100 grams of banana is not even the weight of an average size. According to Tesco, a typical banana contains about 27.2 grams of sugar. And suddenly we are no longer talking about 3 sugar cubes only, we are talking about between 4.5 and 8 sugar cubes that we offer a little baby whose digestive system is only just developing. So if you have been asking yourself, What keeps your baby awake during the night? Why is your baby so fussy or crying all the time? There could be your answer. Now, unfortunately, there is no official recommendation about how much sugar a baby can have. So the best advice is simply this. Less sugar is more when it comes to babies of up to 12 months of age, and actually even after that. So first and foremost, offer your baby veggies. They are packed with micronutrients like vitamins, but they are not as sugary as fruits. It does not mean that you cannot offer your baby any fruits at all. Just make sure they do not contain that much sugar, or simply limit the amount of sugary fruits that you offer your baby. And if you now ask yourself, okay, but what are great low sugar alternatives then? Well, please bear with us. We are going to see a list of ideal baby foods, including fruits, in the second part of this training. Now, earlier we told you that there are 3 criteria according to which we recommend picking best first foods for your baby. So let's have a look at the second criterion, which is temperature.
That's right. So what you need to understand is that each food has either a cooling or a warming effect on the body. Now, that way of thinking is a little bit unconventional in Western societies, we know. But just because we are not aware about this in our Western world does not mean it doesn't exist.
That's right. The best example is probably chili. When we eat chili, we can actually feel the intense heat that chili releases in our body. With other foods, that's not necessarily the case. For example, cinnamon has a warming effect on the body as well, yet we cannot actually feel it.
Exactly. So another example is mint. Mint has a cooling effect on the body. That is why we enjoy it in our drinks on hot summer nights. So each and every food has a similar effect on the body. Some have a cooling effect, then some foods have a warming effect, and then there are foods which have no such effect at all. They are neutral.
And by the way, the question if a particular food has a warming or a cooling effect is not related to the actual temperature of that food. For example, mint tea has the same cooling effect on the body as mint itself, even when it's being consumed as a hot beverage. You could also cook a food that has a cooling effect on the body, but in most cases it wouldn't make any difference. The food would still have that cooling effect.
Alright, so how is this relevant for you when you start weaning?
Well, introducing solids is a major step in a baby's development, but it's also a great challenge for her digestive system. So putting your baby on a diet which is overly cool in nature can put an even heavier burden on her digestive system. Because just like extreme cold slows down movements in the nature, cooling foods can slow down the movements in your baby's body. Digestion-wise, such a diet can slow down the transportation of stools and cause constipation, for example.
The most popular example of a baby food which has a particular strong cooling effect is banana. Both the cooling effect and the high amount of sugar actually make banana the worst possible food for babies up to 12 months of age.
Conversely, putting your baby on a diet primarily containing foods with a warming effect can be harmful too. Because just like heat dries up water in the nature, warming foods can dry up fluids in your baby's body. Digestion-wise, such a diet can dry out stools and cause constipation, but also bloating and sometimes the opposite, diarrhea, as we know from our chili example.
So in general, an ideal baby diet should meet the right balance between cooling and warming foods. But when you start weaning, an even better approach is to offer your baby foods which neither have a warming effect nor a cooling effect on the body.
That's right. Now, if you want to know what kind of foods fulfill those exact criteria, please bear with us. We are going to present you a list of ideal baby foods in the second part of this 2-part video series. But before we do that, let's have a look at the third and final criterion according to which we recommend selecting first baby foods. That criterion is flavor. When it comes to flavor, let me first point out that it is not a requirement to pick foods according to flavor if you simply wish to minimize your baby's digestive issues. However, by selecting foods according to flavor, you can actually do even better. You can support your baby's digestion and help her build a strong digestive foundation for a healthy future. Now, let me first give you an example of how we can use flavor to support our body in its functions. Have you ever been offered a digestive bitter? For example, after a rich meal? The reason why they work so well is because digestive bitters trigger the production of digestive juices like stomach acid, which can improve our digestion. Interestingly, it's the bitter flavor itself which triggers the production of digestive juices. So you could as well have like a coffee or some other bitter tasting drink or food instead. The bitter flavor contained in such drinks or foods would have the exact same effect as the digestive bitter.
For us, that's great news, because it means that we can actually support organs by stimulating them with the right kind of flavor. Now, when we start weaning, we don't want to feed our baby bitter tasting foods. After all, we are not feeding our baby a 5-course dinner, which we want her to quickly digest. Instead, our aim should be to support the baby's spleen. That's because although the spleen is often neglected in Western societies, it actually has a really important function. It extracts energy from the foods which have been digested by the stomach. That energy is then provided to all the other organs in the body to help them maintain their normal function. So if we support the spleen in doing its job properly, we make sure that all the other organs receive the energy required to do their job equally well. By doing so, we help the baby build a healthy digestion, which is the very foundation for a healthy future for your baby. So how can we support the spleen?
Well, bitter flavors won't work here. Instead, the spleen responds to foods with a sweet flavor. And we are going to see in the second part of this training what kind of foods come with a sweet flavor. But just to be very clear, sweet flavor does not mean sugary foods, okay?
Exactly. Okay, now you know the 3 criteria according to which we recommend picking ideal first baby foods. These 3 criteria can not only help minimize digestive issues in your baby, they can even support her digestion. The next step is then to look at a list of ideal first baby foods which fulfill those exact criteria. That is what we are going to talk about in video number 2 of this 2-part series.
See you in a bit.